Carl here with Gardening Solutions, and today I'm going to go over how to build these support structures for earth boxes. These are made from 1/2 inch PVC. Of course, you could use 3/4 inch. 1/2 inch has been really good for me. They're very strong. The weight of the earth box actually holds them in place. So you can see here that the earth box is sitting right on top of these 4 cross members here. And as you probably know, if you own earth boxes, these get very, very heavy. So I've built these 24 inches tall from top to bottom, but you can adjust this riser height and make it taller or shorter as your needs require. I found this works pretty good with tomatoes and peppers. See, this got some peppers in it. Unfortunately, right now isn't the best time of year to show this. This pepper plant is fairly new. This is jalapeno. Got some parsley in that one. But these have worked very good for me. I've just got this box replanted. And this one has the clip method of holding the cover on. And I've got another video on how to do these. So check out that video if you're tired of fighting these covers. This cover is one of the original ones I did. This has been in place for, must be close to 2 years now. And it's still tight. The cover's in great shape. These clips have not given out. It's worked very well. So check out that video if you're also an Earthbox person that wants to improve the covers. So let's get right to it. We'll hop over to the garage and start building one of these support structures. Okay, let's go over a list of what's needed. I've actually got a printout that I made, and if you look down in the video description, I'll include a link to this. You can get it off the Google Drive. Pretty easy to follow. Here's basically a list of all the cuts you're going to make, PVC, how many elbows and T's you need, the total amount of PVC you need, and then this is the gluing instructions. So like here's a 7 inch, 13 inch, 3 inch, and then these 24s you'll see are 4 of them. So this kind of wraps around and connects to this one. You can make those any height you want. If you want it taller, you could do a 30 inch, 36, or even you could do it shorter as well. I'll go over this bit by bit here. But overall, you're looking at 261 inches of PVC to make the box the way I've designed it. So these are 10-foot sections. So 2 of these is 240 inches. We need 21 more, so we need just a little over 2 pieces of PVC. So if you're making 2 boxes, you'll need 5 pieces. You could probably get by with, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 pieces for 4 boxes. You're gonna need 8 elbows. So again, 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch, whatever you're choosing to use. All this is based around the 1/2 inch. The 3/4 really shouldn't change it that much. Again, so 8 of these elbows, 14 T's. You're gonna need some PVC cement. You don't need any primer. You will wanna paint this when it's done. PVC exposed to direct sun will do a lot better if it's been painted, so it'll last you a lot longer. You're gonna need a cutting tool. I like these ratchet type cutters. Nice thing about it, it's besides just being easy, there's no waste and there's no mess. So when you cut, you get those little sawdust type pieces. With this, it's actually cutting it like a pair of scissors or a knife. So I really like using that. Of course, you'll need a tape measure and some sort of marking instrument, pencil or a Sharpie. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the list, and you wanna cut your biggest pieces first. So they're in order here. So we need 4 of the 24 inch uprights. So let me go ahead and mark and get that started. Okay, first thing I'm gonna do is just cut one of these pieces at 24 inches. So marking it at 24. Now you can go ahead and mark a bunch at once, because you don't have to account for any saw blade width if you're using a tool like this. So with the ratchet cutter, you just put it on your mark, ratchet down, there we go. So I've got the first piece, I need 4 of these. I'm just gonna go down the line. That's number 2. That's number 3. And then we've got number 4. So I'm going to set these from longest to shortest. I'm going to put them in order over there. So I'll just randomly do one of my cuts here. I say random because that was in the middle there, so I'm going to cut this piece in two. Again, these are my 24-inch pieces. So you see how fast and easy these cutters are. And again, no mess. That's a big plus. Don't need any more plastic mess. Enough of that when I cut those barrels up. Okay, I got my 4 24s there. So again, I'm going to go down the list. Next is I need 7 13-inch pieces. So I'm going to take my 13-inch here, and I can only get one of them off this piece. And the reason I'm doing it this way is just to show you how you can use this pipe the most efficiently. So there's a 13. I need 6 more of those. But this isn't 13-inch. But what I'll do is, let's see how big this is. This is 11 inches. So I need a 7 and a 3. I can get a 7 and a 3 off this. And that's going to leave me with only 1 inch of waste on this piece of pipe. Let me go ahead and do a 7 and a 3, or mark it at 7 and 10, in other words. Get rid of this little scrap piece first. So that's my only waste. I suppose if you want to spend a lot of time at this, you could probably even eliminate that. So I've got 7 and a 3. One thing I didn't mention on the setup here is I've got an Earthbox here just to kind of show it as I build it. And I've got a nice flat piece of plywood here. So that's just going to be a flat surface to use, since the truck bed isn't really flat. It's kind of at an angle here. So anyways, there's my trash piece. So I'm going to go ahead and make all these cuts. I won't bore you with that part of it, and then we'll come back and start assembling it. Okay, you can see I've got all the pieces cut here, and if this is the first time you're building this, I'd highly suggest a dry fit. So just go ahead and take this diagram, and again, you can see we got elbows here, we got T's, and for example, we got a couple 13s, a couple elbows here on the end, right, and then a couple 3-inch on there. So I'm just going to dry fit this together, and I've got my pipe in order over there so I know what's what. And doing this will help you get it square as well. So that I'm going into a T. So these are my vertical T's. And what we can do is you can build the top and the bottom. Just build this whole bottom, build this whole top, and I'm doing the bottom part right now. So just following along here, we need a couple 7-inch. And then we go to 13 using a T. So this is going to be one of the, let's see, we're doing the top right now. So this is the top separator. So again, this would be the top of the box. A couple more 7s. You can see this goes together really quick once you have everything cut. A couple more T's for the vertical. 2 more 3-inch. Again, I'm not going through this because it's all on this printed piece of document here. So again, if you can download that, it would be a lot easier, or you can always screenshot it off this video. So don't press it together too tight. We just want to get a rough idea, and this is kind of a sanity check, make sure we're building this correctly. So that's my top piece. Now I'm going to start on the bottom. So again, we got the 13s. This is the width. This is going across the bottom of the box. The box is going to sit on that. So again, we'll start with a couple 13s on the end. And then we got some 2-inch. And then a vertical support. A couple 3-inch. So this one has more cross members. So now we're going across. This is where the Earthbox is going to sit on this. This gives us the stability. Of course, you can modify this design any way you want. Basically a couple 7s here. And then a mirror image of that side. Oops, I put this one on wrong. Remember I was talking about a little sanity check there? Yeah, it's easy to get kind of blind as you do it. Another cross member here. Pay attention to what I'm doing. Couple 3-inch. Our verticals. 2-inch. And then the last 13 cross member. So this will complete the bottom. So now we got the top and the bottom. So now all that's left is your verticals. Again, these, I use 24-inch. Use whatever you want here. And we'll get this up here. Now when you start gluing, it's handy to have this pre-built. Again, don't put it together too tight right now. And let's get my flat surface here. Actually, I'll pull it right up on here, even though it's not flat. Tailgate's at an angle. That's why everything keeps rolling off. Yeah, just a little sanity check. Now, it's going to be a little oversized because the PVC is going to be tighter once we glue it, but you can see, so if we bring this in a couple inches and bring it down, we've got a nice good fit there. So it all looks good. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these verticals back out. And take it apart. Not all the way, just take these like this. Now, so here's the fun part. When you glue this together, you want everything to be nice and straight. So the hardest part right now, so we got this nice flat board so we can assemble this. The hardest part is going to be these verticals. So you want to make sure that they're at a nice upright angle. But what we can do is go ahead and glue everything but those, and that gets us a good ways up. So if you've never worked with PVC, for example, we can do this piece, and when we do it, we're going to use this flat board to make sure everything's nice and straight. So I might have to go grab a pair of pliers to open this. Sometimes I can use these as a grip. There we go. Brand new can here of PVC cement. So I'm going to do these two little end pieces first. Those little 2-inch pieces. Now, when you're doing PVC, again, we're not doing this for plumbing, so don't criticize the method here. We're not priming anything, but just do a little bit on the inside of the connector, a little bit on the pipe, and just slip them together. This time you can get them nice and snug in there. You'll see it pushes in really easy. Sometimes it's a good idea to hold it in place just for a second. It might tend to try to push back out, but it's very quick. So it's already dry enough to work with. Definitely not fully dried yet. So again, put a little glue on the inside. You don't need much. Put a little glue on the pipe. Push them together. If it makes you feel better, you can wear gloves while doing this. One thing to be careful of, don't get too much glue. And sometimes it's a good idea to, like when I push these together, is to keep it at an angle like this or upright so that any excess doesn't run down and run into this area. That could be in the way when we go to glue this piece. So these two are ready. So let's do the first elbow to this longer piece. Again, it's better to, I kind of say it's better to not have much glue than to have too much. Okay, so this right now is not critical, right? That's the angle on this doesn't matter, right? You can't really get that wrong. What you can get wrong is when you glue this piece on, is you want these to be nice and square. Like you don't want it to be like crooked. You can see that in the video. You want them to be nice and straight. So a couple ways to accomplish that. Easiest is just lay it flat on the board. That's what I suggest. Just make sure you have a flat board when you're working this. So when you push them together, use that board. Some people prefer to stand them up. I think the other way is a little more accurate. So let me do this. A little bit on the inside, a little bit here. When you push it together, you have a little bit of time, not much, but you got a little bit of work time. There. Okay, that looks pretty good. It doesn't look perfect. I think I'm out of time. Pretty good, will work here, but you don't want it to be too far off. Yeah, see, it's already to the point where I can't really adjust it, but it looks pretty good, pretty flat. So as you put these little, I'll call it subsections together, I'm not going to glue them to the vertical yet. Again, just kind of loosely put them in here. Now you're going to notice that it's tighter. You can see that it kind of bows in. That's because now that they're glued, those pieces of pipe are all the way in. And these are just very lightly put together. So I'm going to glue the other end here. I'll work our way in. Let's take all these apart first. Now, one thing you can do also is don't put the 2-inch in there first, just do this. And then you can get them nice and square on that board. So let me do that this time. You have to find whatever works best for you. Now when you're buying PVC glue, just get the cheapest PVC type you can. A little on the inside. Get this one, it's not critical. Usually I like to have a paper towel or something to wipe as I go. Forgot to do that this time, not a big deal. Little on the inside. Wipe it on that joint. All right, so I'm keeping them flat, flush to the board here, and that looks good. Now when you get these pieces in here, you'll really be able to tell. But yeah, that one looks nice and straight to me. So, put these two pieces in. It doesn't take long to put this together, but you do want to take enough time to try to get things as square as you can. Now, if you ever have to do PVC work, plumbing, you're going to be a lot more careful about cutting things correctly. Generally like to prime the pipes before you work with them, but this is not a plumbing class. Okay, you can see how fast this sets up though. I mean, that's already strong. So now this thing's starting to look kind of funny, kind of bowed, but again, that's because these pieces are a little shorter. I'm going to take the middle section apart. And I'm going to do these a similar way. So I'm going to glue this section up. And when I do it, I'm going to use this flat board or flat surface to line them up like that. Then I'll do the cross members. So let's go ahead and do that. Actually, I'll do the just the center part of it first. Let's take it all apart here. So here's what's critical. Really only these two parts. These 4 T's and these sections that go in between them. So, easy enough. First one doesn't matter. right? Because it's just a piece of pipe and a connector at this point. This next one matters. Now if we get this right, going flat on the board, push it in nice and tight. Okay, there's one. Now, if you have better ways of doing this, feel free to speak up. Put it in the comments. There's that one. Of course, if you have, you know, squares and tools, and you want to build yourself some kind of template, you can make this a lot quicker and easier. All right, push it on there. Okay, now these two are nice and aligned. Since these two are aligned, the cross members, which go here, and these little end pieces, they don't matter. Everything's going to line up for these at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish gluing this piece together. I'm not gluing the verticals yet. Okay, I'm just gluing these. And then I'll do the same with the top structure. Once I get those pieces ready, I'll continue the video, but I'm going to go ahead and do those off video just to save you a little bit of time. Okay, I've got the top and bottom assembled. Now again, I've left the support here for the uprights. I've left that loose. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take these out. Just keep the other parts standing by. So here's the bottom. I'll keep that together with its end pieces. The same with the top. Let's get these T's out of here. So this is the most critical part of getting things aligned correctly. But one thing we can go ahead and do, and the reason this is difficult is because everything we've done so far has been flat, right? It's been straight, or we've been able to set it this way. When we do the verticals, we don't want to skew the whole box. So we want those, it's going at a 90 degree. Now, if you have tools, you want to go that route, use a square or something, you can. But I'm going to show you a pretty easy way to do this. What we can do, these are going to be long, so again, these are 24s, is we can go ahead and put a cap on each end of this, and again, use this board to get those straight to this position. So let's go ahead and do that. Shouldn't take very long. So again, the first one doesn't matter. And I went ahead and grabbed a paper towel so I can wipe this off as I go. Now, putting the second one on. I'm going to keep this one flush on the far end there. Slide this one on. Keep the faces of those nice and flush on this board. So there we go. So this is going to be standing like this. When you get it in the box, we want to make sure doesn't skew the whole top right or left. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to set the box on there and assemble them together. So I've got 3 more of these to do. These supports have worked out really well. Haven't had a single failure yet. And again, painting them is critical because the PVC won't last nearly as long if you don't paint it. I have about 10 of these built now. Okay, flat on there. Push together. Takes a little bit of muscle, not a lot. Just make sure you work it quickly. PVC glue doesn't give you much time. Good thing is if you do mess up bad, PVC is not that expensive. You can actually get the pipe back out of these connectors. You can do it by brute force if you do it quick enough. Other way is cut it flush, take a saw, cut it vertically. Honestly with you, it's probably not worth the trouble because these parts are inexpensive. Now when you buy these T's and elbows, you should buy them in bulk. You get like a 10 pack or 25 pack. It's going to be by far the cheapest route. And buy them at a local building supply store. Don't buy them online. You're just going to get a much better deal locally. I'm not even going to put links to these because it's just not worth it. Even if you go to one of the more expensive, smaller hardware stores, it's going to be cheaper than online. And of course the pipe, 10-foot section, you're not going to ship that. All right, one more to go here. Now I will put a link to this cutting tool, but you can buy them generally at any building supply store. Now if you have a plumbing supply house and you can get a plumber friend or just get a good deal there, you can really save a lot of money. You probably have to buy at least like 100 connectors at a time. Okay, last one. Get them aligned, push it together. There we go. All right. So I'm gonna get the bottom piece here. And loosely put these on. Okay, at the end, you know, you can even leave the ends here off at this point. Really, all we need is these two centerpieces, and I'll show you why. So the goal here is to get it right this way. See, you don't want it to be skewed right or left. We want it as vertical as possible. Now, I got a good eye for this stuff, so I can stand back and look at it and say, okay, that's pretty good right there. Or I'll say good enough. Okay, we're not building furniture, we're not building a house. The alternative is drop your box in here. So that'll help you align it. And then just stand back, take a look at it. So yep, that looks good. Now it's gonna be, you know, you're gonna see a little bowing. It's gonna be not quite as completely supported here. But what we're gonna do, and I'm just showing you this is the easy way. Again, if you have a square or something you want to use, that's fine. Once you're satisfied with it, just come on up here. Let me see if this is within the camera view. And it's not. So let me tip up here. Sorry, that was pretty amateurish, but I'm an amateur. Got my brush ready. I'm going to go ahead and make this separation here. Put a little glue in that. Make my connection. Hold it for a second. Let's wipe that off. So there's one down. Now you can go down to the bottom and do that one. Just come along here. I'm going to do it this way. You'll see it springs over a little bit, but don't readjust anything. We want it to be a little tight in here because it's going to help hold the cover in place. Why not get two uses out of this? Okay, bring that over, push it on. So I'll do the same with the other two. On the top. Might get a little glue on your Earthbox, but shouldn't hurt it. That's 3 down. One more. Now this is a small 8-ounce can of glue. Probably do about 5, maybe 6 of these in an 8-ounce can, so figure 1.5 ounces of glue per structure. Push that on tight. Now we've got these top 4 nice and aligned. Oh, that's good enough. That's all we need. So I'm just going to flip this over. I don't need the box anymore, because now that those 4 are straight, this box is going to stay nice and aligned. So let me just point this back down. Now I flipped it over, but here, I'll flip it back. So I'm going to go ahead and do these bottom connections the same way. At this point, everything is square. So it's going to go together well. I just need to do these 4 bottom connectors. And you'll also see, since everything's getting glued together at this point, we don't have that looseness, that kind of mixed flexibility. Now we've taken up all the slack from the unglued connections. Two. Hold it for just a second. So I guess the takeaway here is take your time getting this thing square. At least the critical connections. And it'll come out nice. It'll last you a long time. To be honest, it's better than anything I've seen that you can even buy. Feel free to make them and sell them, or modify my design. Okay, so this whole thing now is glued and square. So all that's left to do is reattach those end pieces. Oh, that matters. So the bottom, I have to refer to my drawing, the bottom gets the 2-inch, and the top gets these 3-inch. So these are just, you can't get them wrong at this point. I'm just putting them in position here. I'm going to go ahead and glue those pieces on, then we'll take a look at the final product. I've got one last end piece to glue on here. I thought I'd just go ahead and show how I'm doing it. So I just lay the structure on its side. Go ahead and go a little glue on the inside of those. A little on the outside of these. Line it up. In you go. That's it. So this part doesn't take long at all. And there we have it. Seal your glue up. Okay, so again, the section with 4 here, that's going to be the bottom. Now when we look at this, slide the Earthbox in. It should be nice and square. Point the camera down a little bit so you can see that. Got a nice tight fit. Just a little bit of snugness to help hold the cover on. You can see the extent here. So when we loosely fit this, these were really at the edge, but now they're in good position. So all the weight of the Earthbox is sitting on this. Now you can carry this by the PVC, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's very slippery. For one thing, the box could slide out. Now you could you can come up with some idea, like drill a hole on the side and maybe wrap a tie wrap on there or something, but I don't see any reason to do that. Just be careful when you're carrying these as a set, or just don't carry them as a set. Slide the Earthbox out when you want to move it. As you know, it's very heavy. Now, last step, don't forget to paint it. Highly recommend it. Get one of these paints that have the primer built in. It takes a lot because you waste a lot when you're spraying. If you want to brush it, you're going to save a lot of paint, but it's going to take a lot longer. But I use this satin club green or a brown. It takes almost a can just to do one of these. So again, a lot of wasted paint, but worth it in the end. So with that, we have a nice support structure. This design, again with the top with 2 sections, is based on 2 plants. So I usually put like 2 peppers, 2 tomatoes, a mix of them, maybe a couple herbs in there among them, but they don't need the support. You could modify this. You could change where the cross members are, get 3 plants, however you want to do it. But this has worked well for me. I generally find two peppers or 2 tomatoes is more than enough for a single Earthbox. All right, well, thanks for watching. If you have any comments, write them below. Otherwise, let me know if you take advantage of this and what your results are. Thanks for watching.